Hey, it's JC1424 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the new album from 311, which is Voyager. Yeah, I pre-ordered this CD from Amazon because I am really excited to talk to you guys about this one. But then they said I wouldn't get it until the middle of September, which is a month and a half after the release date. So I canceled that and ordered it from Target and got it within a week. So this is great. But yeah, I really do love this album, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. I found these guys from the soundtrack of NASCAR Thunder 2004 with their song Creatures. And then there was a song called Down that The Offspring did a cover of early last year, while these guys covered The Offspring song Self-Esteem. And that kind of reminded me, hey, 311 exists. I listened to their album Mosaic, and I loved one song on that one called The Night Is Young. Probably one of my favorites from 2017. Aside from that, I liked a few tracks, but it just wasn't very consistently vibing with me on the album. This one goes for a more galactic feeling, which really adds a lot of suspense to some of these tracks here, especially the opening one, which is Crossfire. Yeah, this song just kind of launches off into outer space, like my t-shirt. There's no kitty cats on this album, but I think if you're going to think about the meditative state that is consistent on this album, then yeah, kitty cats will work. But yeah, the guitars on this opening track are quite the adrenaline rush, and this one is kind of just about getting so fed up with something and just being under so much tension that you just explode. I suppose that's the analogy here. But the one thing that kind of drags this down, while it is a great opening track, is that this was accidentally plagiarized off of someone else's EDM work. Some moron gave them a sample without telling them that it was someone else's licensed music, and it kind of can take away from the focus of how good this song actually is. But in the end, I kind of got used to it, but still, some of the verses, the analogy of crossfire and exploding and building up under tension, it can be a little cheesy, but it's still a great energetic start to the album.
Laser, laser, laser beam. Caught in the crossfire. Crossfire. So far we never miss it all. No man is a liar.
Track number 2 is Don't You Worry, and this one begins with tons of gorgeous strings that electronically phase into their signature bass and guitar. And then they've got some vocal harmonization alongside some beautiful percussion, and it just gives me the fucking chills. And then finally, along come the hard-hitting guitar chords that just freaking knock my socks off. I'm not even wearing any socks in this album review, so that was a very fitting statement. I'm not going to put my feet up on the screen so you can see, because this is JC1424, not Nickelodeon. I'm not Dan Schneider, okay? But yeah, after all these hard-hitting guitar chords, it does lead into one fine solo ending, and at no point is it going for this standard verse-chorus format. So it's not repeating anything or redoing things that we don't need to hear, making the song very refreshing all the way throughout. And the only way you can actually hear something again is if you listen to it again, and then you're happy because you're glad of what you heard the first time, and you want to hear it again because there's so many things going on start to finish. It's a very progressive song, and there's more songs like this on the album, especially the next track we're going to talk about. But what really gets my attention with this song and makes me emotionally attached to it is that it's about being a friend and helping someone find themselves when they're lost in their head. And I've done that before. I've had friends that have done that for me before. They're really great friends. I want to thank friends like Dale and What If Racing, my friend Chase, because this song, it reminds me of them. And then I've kind of been like this for my girlfriend Kayla whenever we were having some relationship problems. You know, I don't want to just freaking run away whenever something's going wrong. I want to stick by her and make sure that she does appreciate herself, and I appreciate myself. And this song confronts anxiety and depression through friendship, and that's a very valuable thing. And this album really touches me, and it all starts with this song right here. It's my favorite song on the album, and one of my favorite songs of all year.
Don't you worry.
Stainless is the third song on this album, and is definitely the most suspensefully aggressive track that this album has. There is a story to it, but for the most part, the drums building up and the guitars crawling in as we get closer and closer to this amazing chorus riff, they kind of steal the show. Even then, the verses are well sung and rapped by Nick and S.A. respectively. But here, it's got this concept of no sacrifice, no victory, kind of like Transformers. And then this is this spatial galactic themed album. So I don't know if this is like pandering to Hasbro or what. Is this the Hasbro song? I don't know. But if there's anything that puts me off of this song, it's just how it ends. That's it. Everything else is beautiful, perfect, just badass. But it gets to this really fast, hard-hitting outro. And I like that. It's it's structured in a way that it comes to a halt really quickly, and it feels like they had more to do. And that's maybe just me. Maybe some people, they don't find the song ending in a bad place, but I still love the song. I would give it a 9 out of 10.
This is what we came to say.
For a song about someone's desire for meditation, track number 4, Space and Time, really captures the tropical paradise feeling that they occasionally like to go for. And they did it so well here that I kind of grew on it really quickly. It does all this without dropping the musical aspect. It gets to the second verses and it's got this heavier guitar and these rapped verses, and then it leads into this guitar solo. But unfortunately, it could not escape that Weather Channel sound, that dreaded, terrible Weather Channel sound. It's not that bad because of all the other things that the song did. It's still one that I really like. Like I said, it grew on me. And they've got these drums here that are really essential for transition. And then this bass in the background, it has this slightly playful bounce. It doesn't set the song off pace or off its vibe. It just makes it a little more happy.
There's a space I'm looking for. I grind all the time, 724.
Track 5 is Dream State, and it's the only one on this album that uses tone alone to get your attention, so it makes it quite unique. That fuckload of guitar is playing some quite chromatic chords in its progression, and the vocal harmonization is even more harmonized than it was in track 2, Don't You Worry, if you ask me. And this kind of reminds me of like after a 5-day work week and Friday night you just lie in bed, but I would never describe that as a room spinning and mind-numbing kind of relief. But I guess this is also meant to be an experience of getting high, because I hear that in the lyrics in this song, and I think they talk about that on another song in this album later on.
I'm only flesh and bone, chasing the unknown.
Good Feeling is the 6th song on this album, and for mainstream pop music, it's not bad. But it doesn't fail to do all the things that metalheads hate about pop music to begin with. I understand this song though. I've seen how much happiness can come from me and Caleb being together, and our relationship makes any emotional struggles that we go through totally worth it in the end, at least for me. I'm not saying that we should, but it's worth it. It's the strength of our relationship that we can get through that and stay together because we just love each other that much, and this song really points that out, so I can relate to it in that way. Still, even though it's got some really decent percussion here and it sticks to that tropical feeling, that is as organic as it gets. They throw in some auto-tune, some sirens, distortions, cutoffs, and a little cheerful stutter in the vocals throughout the chorus. And at this point, it's just trying too hard. But I still like this song. And Nick Giambrono, a guy I wanted to talk about a little bit, he was saying how this was a song that reminded him of Owl City. And I hear it alongside another song called Dodging Raindrops I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and the final song on the album, Lucid Dreams.
But I'm holding you close and I'm letting you go, 'cause baby you're the reason. I got a good feeling, got a good feeling.
Track 7 is What The, and is certainly the grooviest track on the entire album, with a very upbeat and nutty feeling, with this attitude that says, go get lazy. The guitars on this song are played in literally every single way that they are across the entire album, all in one song, and that's just amazing, this guitar smorgasbord. Then you've got the bass, which is funky, punching all the right notes to keep a good rhythm, but is still being a contributing element. It's like it's standing out, but it's also being its own thing, and that's just great. It's just doing everything right here musically. Now, S.A. is the one doing the singing on the song the whole time, while Nick does the rapping at some points. And it's a good alternative. It really works for this song. But I could sit back and eat an ice cream to this song just fine. It's that kind of song. But the freaking lyrics are here, they're just as stupid as the stoners that they're about. Like, you'd be getting high to this freaking song, solving your problems, and say, hey, come get high with me, you'll solve everything. I don't know if eating ice cream solves problems either, but that's the kind of vibe I get to this freaking summer song, is that guitar just kind of crying out and having all kinds of fun. Song number 8 is Better Space, and melodically this one reminds me of Sesame Street, which is playful, but yeah, SA doesn't do any rapping on this song. Rather, he sings in the verses a little bit behind Nick for some harmonization. And Nick is singing on this track that he's smart enough to know that no matter how bad of a mindset that he gets into, he'll find his way back to a better place and a better space. He's kind of rhyming space and place. It's straightforward. It's not that bad. But one thing that does drag this song down for me is that it's got these fairly bland guitar chords that really stuff it throughout the verses and the chorus. But then it comes to this payoff, and it's just freaking amazing. And it kind of contrasts Crossfire in that way, because there it was just great at being suspenseful. Whenever it got to the chorus, it just wasn't that good. And this one is the complete opposite. But yeah, in between the chorus and those breakdowns they have, there are these really calm verses. And I couldn't understand them at first. So whenever I got the CD, I took out the lyric book, and they were like mostly in Latin. So I still don't understand what exactly that they're saying. So I've got to look that up real quickly. But I know it's got something to do with, finding your great state of mind and knowing that you have one, and you'll be fine. You'll get back to it. Dodging Raindrops is the 9th track on the album and is a very interesting and catchy take on a fight against depression. It's relaxing but energetic as it takes the awareness to a whole new step further. The elements here are half and half with pop, rock, and reggae. Now, the message is used and analogies very well, and the feeling has just a great instrumentation to it. But one thing that does drag it down for me personally is just its slightly generic structure. But that's about it. It's been stuck in my head lately, so I might have to increase the score of this album just because of the song not wanting to leave me alone. And I like it. It's obsessed with me. I'm not obsessed with the song, it's obsessed with me, man.
Time is ticking and the world is not waiting on me. I've been dodging raindrops for far too long.
Track 10, Rolling Through, is an attempt to shut down anxiety and uncertainty. Kind of picks up a friend when they're feeling blue to turn everything all around and turn everything into a party. It's very likable in my opinion. It's kind of a motivational and aggressive thing, it's kind of hypes you up. It's what it's meant to do. The verses are just fucking nuts here, but that's all it's really got going for it in my opinion. The lyrics in a rush, and I can't understand what they're saying half the time unless I have the lyrics in my face, and I got them right here, so we're good on that. The song's much better that way, but the guitars tend to take a back seat in this song in my opinion, but I don't think other people feel the same way about it. It's just aggressive all the way through, but not really doing anything special, I guess, until the very end, whenever it really goofs around for the outro. Not that it's bad, it just doesn't feel very iconic for the song. I feel like they could have done something a little more impressive. Track number 11, Born to Live, is the only other song in this album that I would consider a 10 out of 10 in comparison to Don't You Worry. But this one is my second favorite underneath that one, just because that one and its instrumentation and the way it's structured is just way more appealing to me. But this one still has a great message. Nick is singing about how he's battled his darkest states of depression, and because of that, he can be confided in himself to help his children through it. Anything that they ever go through, he can give them advice and let them know that he knows what they've been through. And some people might say that's too one-sided, but if you've ever gone through any stress like that before, you can tell yourself that my kids, they're going to be able to get through it just fine. And for me, it's touching. The guitar riff really slaps here from start to finish. The vocal melodies really pull me in. And the damn intro with the bass, it's way better than Seinfeld's, man. Seinfeld's ain't got no tambourine, so... Charge It Up is track 12, and this one is a complete masterpiece in terms of structure, effects, and musicality. It's even got this really complex analogized meaning, if analogize is even a word. You know what I'm trying to say. It's about this clique of friends. They look out for one another whenever they go running off and come back with a broken heart, and they kind of charge them up like a battery. They do that for each other. I don't know if that's like completely out of this world. Maybe it is, and it's supposed to be like that because this album is out of this world with the galactic theme, but they don't really do that much here. But fuck the song meaning. Let's talk about this progressive ending. They got these polyrhythms, and the time signature changes, and then it slips into these long flanged chords. It's amazing.
Going deeper and deeper, and we'll never repeat along the way.
album ends off with a very dated pop sound with track 13, Lucid Dreams, but it does come with a more unique reggae instrumentation than the other two pop tracks on this album, which were, Good Feeling and Dodging Raindrops. But I still like Dodging Raindrops more. On this song, S.A. just kind of walks off the stage and leaves it all to Nick. Nick is singing in this different vocal approach, and it's weird because I was never expecting it. He uses this really deep voice like he's Johnny Cash, except Johnny Cash didn't make pop music, so Nick is doing it for him. But surprisingly, I like it as a closer. It's not exactly bad in my opinion. I got used to it really quickly. It really does suit the theme of the album with the peaceful mindset theme, and it's just really beautiful ending, combining the reggae and the pop together as it's very calm. But yeah, I love this album. It was a great experience. If you haven't listened to it yet, just listen to some of my favorite songs on here at least. You should consider buying it if you haven't gotten one of their albums, or if you have a few of them. This one is definitely worth getting, especially compared to Mosaic. I've listened to that one before, like I said. My final score for Voyager in 2019 by 311 is an 86%, which is like, I think, 5% higher than the last review I did for the Black Keys album, Let's Rock. And this one, it was just, like, sure, it had some downs with, the pop songs not being exactly for me, but I still liked them because they were working really hard to do it their way, not just phoning it into the radio, I guess, because I think they know that their pop songs aren't going to be on the radio. They're just doing their own thing for their fan base this one. They're definitely doing it like that. And 86% with me, an 85 is like a B minus, so I guess it's like somewhere between just a regular B and a B minus. My percentages are always kind of based on like the school grading scale, like 7 points for every grade or something like that. So yeah, I love this album. Thanks for watching my album review and listening to me talk about all these songs, just every track individually. It was very time consuming. It took a lot of time in the making just because I wanted to listen to the CD more than I actually wanted to talk about it. But I actually enjoyed talking about it. So see you next time. That's that. And album review over.
Lean into it, yeah, lean into it.